Over to you, Willie. I've done my part.
But Pascal's wager is actually it is a table, right? So there's two possibilities: God exists, God doesn't exist. Then the other two is you believe and you don't believe. So the idea is that if God exists and you believe, great, you've gone to heaven, right? But if you believe and God doesn't actually exist, you don't actually lose anything. That's what Pascal wager says.
Yeah.
The other option is down here where you don't believe. Then if God exists and you don't believe, you're going to hell, which is terrible. And on this side you have God doesn't exist and you don't believe, again, nothing bad that comes out of it. So that's the but it convinces no one lah. So that's the thing which we've been talking about. The opposite end of Pascal's wager is actually not to say that there is no difference if you're a believer and God doesn't actually exist, you don't actually lose out on anything. You do. You lose out on all the time that you spend worshiping Him. You lose out on all the decisions you make around the belief that He actually exists. So I'm the kind of guy who was pretty hardcore, like very serious about trying to figure out what is the truth of the world and stuff like that. So I am one of those people. I'm a little bit more like religious people in the sense that I think getting your ideas correct is really important, right? If God exists, I think it's really important that you figure out whether how to worship Him, which is the correct church to go to, or mosque to go to, or whatnot. So I took it very, very seriously. But that's the thing, it completely changes the way which you addresses the rest of the world. Like objective morality is one of those examples. And if you choose to believe and the thing doesn't exist, you would have spent so much of your life and so much of your time, and that's not nothing, right? That is actually something very significant. But yeah, it's I don't think this is a thing that you should leave, like like we can't figure it out, so let's just take the bet on the safer side, right? Nobody does that with major life decisions. You shouldn't be doing that with things like religion or the existence of God either.
No, really. I think it's not really bad. I think it's really a calculated bet, in a certain sense, But by doing that, okay, one thing that you said is completely true. I totally agree. I waste my time and probably praying, going to Hajj, fasting, and stuff like that. Actually, but there is to me, there is a wisdom behind all those things, which is I can explain. Some people, I mean, like you pray. There is a friend of mine. He's converted to Islam. He said one thing that he said something about different about Muslim. He can wake up early in the morning to go and pray. And some people can wake up 3 or 4 morning, do Grab and stuff like that. They work for money, some money that they want to achieve. But these people, they go there. But no, I'm not trying to say that those who goes to mosque is basically good people. That is one of the things. You do that things because you think that you are probably a creation of God. The first thing that all Muslim, when they pray, basically said, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And I thank God to the God of all the worlds, Alameen, all kinds of world. Basically, like you said, there is this world, outer world, multiverse, whatever world. We don't even know the boundaries. So that's the God we are talking about, not a Santa Claus God. We are talking God that is, that created the whole world that we don't even know the boundaries. There is even universe inside us. So we just have there is one people say, where is the God? Let's say we are the creation. This is the pen. We are the creation. We say, God, how come this pen cannot see us? Does it mean that this thing doesn't exist? Because God created in a sense for God to test you whether you can do good before you see that God. Of course, if you see that God, there is no longer viable test in that sense. So you say, why God want to test you and put you to heaven or put you to hell? If you can create your own self, you can create your own universe and stuff like do whatever you want to do.
The easiest way to answer that is God knows whether you're. So the same thing as the Pascal's wager. One of the major criticism towards Pascal's wager is essentially that it makes people who don't believe pretends to believe so that they will actually go to heaven. So actually the criticism came from religious people themselves. But that is exactly the point. If God knows everything, then if He creates a test, then He should know whether you are actually authentically passing the test of doing good or etc. or not. But He should be able to know. Doesn't really work lah, you know, this arguments. The other part of it is like, does God not have you know, God is supposed to be omnipotent, he's supposed to be capability to do everything. So the idea that he's not actually able to create a test convincing enough for people to actually buy into it, but
What do you mean by that?
yeah, the thing that you said, you know, like people are supposed to believe on faith and then run through the test, right? So that they can demonstrate or authentically, whether you know God exists or you're just believing that he exists, both of this is still assigning a higher power. The real authentic test, if you're really wanting to design it, is to just remove these things completely and see whether people will behave properly or not. So let's say you're trying to create a bunch of robots that will cooperate, right? And then you develop a whole bunch of AI and you throw it inside, you're running the simulation. You whether you exist or not doesn't matter. You just pick the robots who cooperate. That is how you train the AI model. Sorry, a big computer science side. You wouldn't. It doesn't matter whether you tell them you exist or they believe you exist or not. You would just train the models until you get the robots which actually cooperate. Those are the ones who are actually cooperating. You don't need the question of whether there is a person hanging over you to be, you know, whether it exists or not.
No, the thing is, Willie, okay. I think I don't really get your point in certain sense, but correct me if I'm wrong. According to Islam, that we believe that God basically has created everything else, basically robotically worshipping him. That there is no question like that. That all the angels and stuff like that, you know, they are supposed to act according to whatever they are prescribed. It's only the man that has this free will. This is a big, huge burden on human being to choose whether you want to believe or not to believe without seeing. But actually, all the evidence is everywhere in all of us. You know, you see the magnificence of creation. Whether this we can still, you know, happen by chance. There must be some kind of higher power that created us. Even again, that is one thing to me is quite. But what are the consequences of you not believing? One is, of course, by believing that you do good things. You know what you can do and what you cannot do. But the moment you let people do what they want to do by their own whims and desire, you know what we have right now. All sort of mess because we don't have, you know, objective moral values, what you're supposed to be doing. And basically people are, like Richard Dawkins said, we have a selfish gene in us. We tend to try to maximize our...
Sorry, I have to correct that. That's not what the selfish gene means.
Yeah.
The selfish gene is actually referring to the fact that genes are selfish. It's not referring to a gene that is being selfish.
No, basically we are, basically without we have the God there, we are free to do whatever that we can do, as long as that thing is legal. There is one, even in US, there is one, this guy, I used to drive Grab, you know, and this one at New Yorkers, he said, when he came and said, normally I'll ask, how do you find Malaysia? He said, oh, I like it, why not? He said, why? Because it's Muslim countries, you know, so you have like structured stuff like that, what you can do, what you cannot do. In New York, basically everything goes, you know. And basically, if you say something wrong, a man is kissing. This is basically Italian New Yorkers, you know. I mean, his parents from Italian. You basically, if you want to, you know, there's also a fight that you can be nude everywhere. I mean, no, just like when you let people do whatever they want to do, you cannot be saying that you are doing is wrong. If it's legal to do so, if you can bear your chest, no, they go to court. Why women cannot bear their chest? This is the thing. This is talking about rights. No?
Allow you to run around naked in the US because there's public decency laws, but
they fought in court. Basically, they won that case.
Well, yeah. So that's the thing. This is going back to the subjective morality thing we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
If again, you are essentially bringing up specific cases, or you're trying to paint a picture of situations where humanity cannot possibly function if there's no, you know, objective morality. But I mean, the vast majority of UK, I think some European countries are secular these days. The huge percentage of the population is religious. They haven't fallen to anarchy.
Yeah.
So you know, it's not really true, or neither is it demonstrable that objective morality is an absolute requirement for human society to function correctly. So yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying that. It's just that, you know, whether people can you know, have what is right and wrong. If people, you know, in a philosophical argument, if people all follow what is good, they don't drink, they don't, you know, they don't do stuff, alcohol, drugs, LGBT and stuff. I think it'll be a better world in that sense, you know, because what you are supposed, your purpose in life, this world, basically to do good things. You know, that is to me objective morality. Your purpose in life, you do good things. You are like, you are created for that, and you're supposed to help humanity by your talent, whatever that God has given to you. And we have all different talents, and if you are rich, you're supposed to help the poor. So that's the thing, that objective morality, that forcing you to do good things. I mean, otherwise, you know, we are free. We are basically free to do whatever. Yes, we have free will. So again, God don't punish you here.
Okay,
God
so
doesn't have to wait. Yeah.
let's take the two comparisons side by side, right? Let's say bunch of atheist people who secular people, irreligious people who don't particularly have belief systems, and then you take a whole bunch of religious people. Are you saying that in religious people's societies there are significantly less wrongdoing and
No.
So
I don't say
at
that.
the end of the day, it's just a philosophy of it's just sort of just saying objective morality is better, end of story, right? Then there's no much point. If you're not going to apply data to it, then what is the point of having the conversation? At the end of the day, it's sort of saying good is good, right? Objective morality teaches you to do good, therefore it is good. End of story. Of course, there's a tautology. Good is good. Yes, good is good. But end of the day, if you really want to be honest with yourself and you really want to apply your thinking to it, then the question you should be asking is a whole bunch of people subscribing to belief systems who tell them to do good? Do they actually produce superior societies with better livelihoods for people and stuff like that, versus a group of people with no specific such leanings? At the end of the day, are they still able to carry out reasonably good societies? I think these days you can do reasonable comparisons, but perhaps the experiments or the data is not perfect, but you can do reasonable comparisons because they are largely irreligious societies and largely religious societies these days, right? But end of the day, this original philosophical question is not really that useful. A lot of the time when people are trying to resolve these differences between atheists and the rest of it, the questions that come up is always this religious kind of thing. But I mean, the reality of it is nobody is religious because of philosophical questions. Nobody. I don't think there's a single person in this world who said that I go like, the first cause argument, there must have been a first cause which caused everything, otherwise there'll be infinite regression. Nobody is a Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, or whatever because of any of these ridiculous philosophical arguments. They are Christian, Muslim, or etc. because they believe in whatever holy book or teachings that they were taught. So
no, it's not about that philosophical, that deep philosophical, at least some form of it. I mean, the first thing, like even for my kids, even my wife is teaching in university and stuff like that. That's the three things that you must ask, you know. Where are you coming from? What are we supposed to be doing this year? Where you go from here? You know? Otherwise, you come here, you just play, you know, watch anime, have fun, you know. So, I mean, there must be a higher purpose that what we are born, or what we are created for. Advice, you know. I think life, of course, it will be meaningless, you know. And of course, the last thing, you don't have. I think you admit, without the God factor, you lose this ultimate justice kind of thing.
I don't
Meaning and
any such thing.
sorry?
I live a very meaningful life. I chose to be an educator. I chose the field of education after I graduated, and I chose it actively because I wanted to do something and make a difference in the education. So I don't feel any sense of loss of meaning or whatever. In terms of meaning of life or etc., I don't think that we can find it. As in, I don't think that the universe created it for us to find, right? Or it exists. Since I don't believe in the existence of a God, so I don't particularly believe that somebody is here to tell us. So end of the day, yes, I think that I end up deciding for myself. So people can end up deciding different kind of things. There's a lot of different problems in society. We can choose different things to work on. So I don't feel a lesser sense of purpose whatsoever.
Okay, Sean, you want to add anything to that?
You guys were talking about doing good and bad and stuff like that. So I'm like here sitting down thinking, right? So few days ago, so right, I saw like people selling, let's say, okay, this one is like last time when before COVID era, right? Those like people who come into shop and then buy ask you to buy their tissue, or blind people ask you to buy tissue or something like that. It's like beggar, right? So if you think about it, you heard a lot of news that people, that this kind of people, some people, some type of this kind of people, right, controlled by a bunch of evil people who just want to use this what you call PT, right, to buy your money, to take your money. Actually, they kidnap people, they potong their leg or something, make them very bad, and then they make PT. And then, that's this kind of thing exists. So when you give money to this kind of people, when you give money to beggar or buy the tissue from the auntie, right, do you think you are doing good? You are doing bad, right, if you support the evil scheme behind everything. But let's say like this particular one is doing evil, but without paying the guy wouldn't have salary come from the boss who did bad thing to him, right, or something like that. He wouldn't survive. And if you don't do that, then he might not survive. But if you do that, you are supporting the bad guy behind it. So is it good or bad? So there's a lot, to me that's a lot of tricky question. There's no straight answer, yes or right or wrong. So it's very hard to, I think society itself is more complicated than objective morality, like this must be wrong, this must be right. Some question are kind of things like that. There's actually a lot of things like this, right? To me,
yeah. Thanks, Sean. Whether that's right or wrong, of course, we also have. I saw this one religion said you cannot have a second pair of shoes until everyone has a pair of shoes. That kind of thing. And you said whether we should help him. One thing I don't know whether he's an honest beggar, whatnot. Whether it's a ring behind that, whatnot. To me as Islam, you just give because you want to give. You don't know. Of course, if you know, I think what I will do is probably I will report to the authority, whatnot, and get that thing busted or that thing taken care to a proper place. That's one thing. No, whether you want to give, probably you give. That's really behind her that you don't know. There is a ring behind that, the begging ring. To Islam, you get two rewards. One, you are donating to her, and second thing, for you being cheated by the ring. So it's still fine. You do what, I mean, at the end of the day, you do what is the right thing to do. It's not like you let the judgment, you leave it to God. I mean, in that sense, of course, we have this dilemma here and there. There are many things we have that. We try to strive. Of course, some people say, give all your money. Maybe there's some kind of balance, to charity. Some people, this is basically in Islam we call it the biggest jihad. Is you jihad against yourself. What you want to provide your family, how much is enough, how much you want to give to other people and stuff like that. You have this constant struggle within you. Or probably go to karaoke, or go and pray and stuff like that. And Sean, Willie, there are lots of wisdom behind all this praying. You put people together. Now you don't even know your own neighbors. You go there for the sake of doing good and stuff like that. Of course, from the data that you said, many of the countries, do you think that they really believe in how they understand, like you said, philosophically? I don't know. Probably not. Most of them basically are just was born and conditioned into that thing. Because I pick up one guy from Australia. His name is Nordin Abdullah. I thought he's a Melayu. Nordin Abdullah, he's a big guy in Australia. I said, hey, how come your name is Nordin? I said, so I'm a Muslim. Wow, you're a Muslim. Or you're a big Australian. I said, why you become Muslim? I said, it's logical, Because the first thing, do you know what's the first verse in the was sent down to Prophet Muhammad?
Bacalah.
Yeah, it's basically it's not that you have to pray, you have to fast and stuff like that, do good. So, basically you must know what you are doing. You by reading, by researching stuff like that. And the thing is, really, whether that's a big share or whatnot, we don't do the judgment. We just try to do our best to do the best thing possible for the best of humanity. It's just that you can say a bet in that sense. To me, it's a calculated bet. It's a calculated bet. I believe I cannot here come by nothing. I'm just too sophisticated. The world is too sophisticated. Everything got lost and stuff like that. It cannot, that, you know better than me, and it cannot just come by chance. And I bet on that. And not just by that, I having faith, I also have to act on my faith. This is basically taqwa. You have to act on your faith. Do good stuff until you die. And hopefully, if there is a God, I have that at least better chance than you, both of you. Over to you, Willie.
Make sure that God is not aware that you are making a bet.
I just for talking to at least you understand. No, of course, intercession, having faith,
Feel not maybe yes, maybe no, right?
Of course, you cannot be, you just, God said have faith. So have faith basically you having faith in the unseen. That's the thing. The thing is, God forced you to do good things. Is that not good, really? No, I'm not asking you and basically try to put a universal moral objective, do good thing. Of course, people cannot. You have this desire to do stuff. I mean, you have free will. Up to you. This is again, I think we're going around. I think you got my stuff. This is basically my standpoint. Every day we make our decision. We have that free will. Whatever you want to believe is really up to you. To me, I don't believe that you having faith, you go to heaven. This is not fair. We are born into different time frame, stuff like that. We believe it's Islam. No, one thing that I'm trying to sell to you, really. One God, this universal God, one God, everyone subscribe to. We all the same brothers and sisters from Adam and Eve, and there are many prophets sent down, and basically the Prophet Muhammad is the last and final one. So you don't you wait, or there's another prophet to tell you different stories and stuff like that. So you just subscribe to that thing, and that's it. We, of course, we say we are betting, in certain sense, I'm betting in your terminology. I call it faith. But not faith, but faith is action.
Right? You asked us earlier what kind of proof that is required. If God has Prophet Muhammad down a little bit later after video cameras were invented, and where perfect recording can take place, then there will be no doubt whatsoever as to the accuracy of everything that was said. At least the recording will be perfect, Then there will be all these miracles that's supposed to have happened or whatnot will at least be on video camera. So it's very unfortunate that all the miracles that, the huge miracles that happened in the past happened before video cameras were invented.
Yeah, really. But that's a very same logic with
sorry.
No, I know, but it's very same logic, Sean, that you want a physical God to be in front of you. You want to do video recording. Basically, practically, if you have that, everyone, there is no more test.
But
everyone will submit the same God.
The people who were there and witnessed those miracles, I mean, they had their need for faith removed as well. So that doesn't really work either, right?
So the thing is, I don't know about miracles. I don't know whether, I think you've been a Christian once, the story of Adam, Cain and Abel and stuff like that, They basically disobey God from the sun. I mean, what if until us, there's so many variations of people, What I'm trying to say is, you see miracles, only those who see can believe, But in God, basically, in Islam, it said, the miracles basically Quran. That's verbatim words of God. I mean, God says, really, you take that Quran, you say, you just please read with your open and sincere heart. don't. God knows what's inside your heart, and you try to find mistake and stuff like that. If there's any, it's consistent with the, whatever is happening in this world, in that sense. If you don't understand, ask people who probably ask me or people who know better than me in that sense. We say you check with objective. I don't think there is a single religion that check my scriptures and stuff like that, find faults in that. I think Islam is only quite open in that sense. So that's why just prove it. This is basically chapter 4 verses 8-2. Try to find fault in that thing, and you come back to me. Really, we have the discussion later on after this. But you must be sincere. God knows what's inside your heart and your brain, man.
Sorry, what was the question again?
No, I think the miracle for Muslim is basically the Quran, the revelation, the God's word they put in the not really the physical Quran that basically was memorized and now it's in written form, in the book form. Everything is there. I mean, you just check or read with open mind. I mean, you'll be skeptic mind also okay. Try to be objective and fair. See whether there's any logical in that sense. Find any mistake if you think is consistent what's happening and stuff like that. And if you have checked that, I think I'm okay in that sense. Again, really, There is chapter 2, I give you the little bit secret, Sean. In chapter 2, verse 30, God says, no, people in this world basically that people don't believe is because they just don't want to believe. You know? And second thing is reason is because they have this ego in them, think they know better than some other people. They have this ego and they just don't want to believe. Abba was takbaro. I mean, why should I believe? I'm enough, man. I can go to work. I'm fine. I got my girlfriend, you know, my life is fine. I don't need God in that sense. You know? So again, up to you. Yeah, you have anything, Willie? I think I've gone a bit too much on this one.
I suppose the main thing is just the fact that this talk itself is I guess pretty evident of it. A lot of people think atheist groups or atheist people are undecided people with which is a good opportunity to proselytize to, to try and convert and etc. But I think many people don't realize that lazy atheists are not, is sort of like an oxymoron, right? There's actually a large number of us who have actually sat down, considered, walked through a lot of things. We have considered very, very deep. I mean, the philosophical questions is definitely there, of course, but in terms of evidence and etc., we have dug very, very deep. You'll be surprised how deep some people have actually looked into. People don't abandon the general faiths which they were either brought up with, or they went with for years and years without very, very strong reasoning. And the vast majority of the atheist or humanist community are essentially people who are looking for support groups out there. So there's still a huge misunderstanding and very antagonistic viewpoint towards atheist people in this country. I think the Muslims, the ex-Muslims, are the ones who have the biggest problem. It's literally illegal to be an ex-Muslim in Malaysia. So although I myself don't face that persecution, I think it's a very serious, a very real issue out there. I think people don't understand, or I guess people do, but they are scared of it, right? You can't force people to believe in something. That's the thing. The word belief is actually very often misunderstood, right? Like this is a chicken, right? This is a piece of cardboard. This is a chicken. You can't believe it no matter how much you try, right? So sometimes it is a concept which some people, I don't know, for some reason find extremely difficult to wrap their heads around. But having said that, we're here, we're normal people, right? I personally myself don't really, I'm not whatsoever interested in spreading my belief system or whatever it is. It's just the state which I am in. The reason why we feel the need to speak up sometimes is because we need to let people know that we exist. So Sarul, thank you for hosting us or having us during your group and discussion sessions and whatnot. Because I think a lot of people don't realize that. Yeah, I mean, people go like, this is a phenomenon of the West kind of thing, where a lot of people are becoming irreligious and whatnot. But there's plenty of atheists in Malaysia. We exist. We're just here. We're not doing harm or particular. And some of us are actually trying to make a difference and do good and etc. in the world. Yeah. So I guess that's the main thing I want to highlight.
All right. Thanks, Willie. Just one thing that I don't agree is that I'm not trying to convert you in a certain sense, in that sense, because I've told you even before the discussion, even some other people, they are, like Colin said, it's almost like impossible for you to convert people. They have some beliefs. Sometimes people they are like that, but it's very important for me to try to present my views as clear as possible. I only can read with you, those of you. I cannot with some other religion, because I know there's some boundaries and stuff like that when it comes to belief.